How did ancient Egyptians lift stone blocks weighing up to 80 tons to build the incredible pyramids of Giza? For decades, the most popular theory was a giant, straight ramp leading up to the top. It seems simple enough, right? Well, not exactly. If you do the math, a ramp reaching the pyramid's summit would have been a construction project almost as massive as the pyramid itself. It would have required more stone, more labor, and would have been an absolute logistical nightmare to build and then dismantle. This massive problem left historians and engineers scratching their heads for years, leading to all sorts of wild theories. But today, the real secret, a solution far more elegant and ingenious, might finally have been revealed. The most widely accepted modern theory takes us not outside, but inside the Great Pyramid. French architect Jean-Pierre Houdin dedicated years of his life to this puzzle, using advanced 3D modeling software typically used for designing modern skyscrapers. He proposed a revolutionary idea. What if the main ramp was built inside the pyramid? Imagine a spiral ramp, like a corkscrew, winding its way up within the pyramid structure as it grew taller. This internal ramp would solve the biggest problems of the external ramp theory. It wouldn't require a mountain of extra materials, and it would need to be disassembled afterward, because it would simply become part of the pyramid's internal structure. According to Houdin's theory, this is how it worked. A shorter, straight external ramp was used for the bottom third of the pyramid. This initial phase allowed them to move the largest, heaviest blocks for the base and the king's chamber with a relatively manageable ramp. Once the pyramid reached about a third of its final height, the construction strategy shifted. The external ramp was no longer extended. Instead, workers began using the internal spiral ramp to haul the remaining blocks, which were generally smaller, all the way to the top. This two-ramp system is incredibly efficient. The external ramp does the initial heavy lifting, and the internal ramp takes over for the long climb. It's a brilliant solution that showcases advanced planning and a deep understanding of structural engineering. But wait, there's more to this incredible feat of engineering. The ramp system was just one piece of the puzzle. How did they actually move these colossal blocks? Even on a ramp, dragging multi-ton stones on a wooden sled across dry sand would have been nearly impossible due to the immense friction. This is where another piece of ancient genius comes into play. A famous painting from an ancient tomb shows a man pouring liquid in front of a sled carrying a massive statue. For a long time, this was thought to be a purely ceremonial act, but physicists from the University of Amsterdam decided to test it. They conducted experiments and discovered something amazing. Wetting the sand in front of the sled reduces the friction by half. The water binds the sand grains together, creating a firmer surface that prevents the sled from digging in. This simple trick meant that the number of men required to pull a heavy block was literally cut in half. It wasn't magic, it was applied physics. So we have an internal ramp and wet sand. But the Egyptians' toolkit was even more diverse. They were masters of simple machines. Evidence suggests the widespread use of levers to lift and position blocks with incredible precision. Imagine long wooden beams used to pry and nudge stones into their final resting place, a task requiring both brute force and a delicate touch. Furthermore, some engravings and artifacts hint at the possibility of more complex machinery. There are theories about counterweight systems, where a heavy block being lowered on one side of a mechanism would help pull another block up on the other side. Think of it like a simple pulley or a seesaw. While direct evidence for these complex machines is still being debated, it's clear the Egyptians used every mechanical advantage they could invent. They weren't just piling up rocks, they were orchestrating a complex construction project with a variety of sophisticated techniques. Let's put it all together now. The secret to building the pyramids wasn't a single, magical solution. It was a brilliant combination of multiple advanced techniques, a symphony of engineering. You start with a short, external ramp for the massive base blocks. Then, you transition to a clever internal spiral ramp that grows with the pyramid, saving immense resources and effort. As you haul the stones along these ramps, you have teams of workers wetting the sand in front of the sleds, making the impossible task of dragging 80-ton blocks suddenly achievable. And for the final placement, you use a combination of levers and potentially even counterweight systems to position each stone with millimeter accuracy. This multi-stage, multi-tool approach is what allowed them to build a monument that has stood for over 4,500 years. So, when you look at the Great Pyramid of Giza, Don't imagine aliens or lost technologies. Instead, picture the incredible human ingenuity of an ancient civilization. It's a story of brilliant architects, resourceful engineers, and thousands of skilled workers who understood physics, logistics, and project management on a scale that is still unspearing today. The pyramids are not a mystery of the unknown, but a testament to the power of human collaboration and intellect. The real secret is simply that the ancient Egyptians were far more brilliant than we ever gave them credit for. They were, without a doubt, some of the greatest builders the world has ever known. Thanks for watching, and if you enjoyed unraveling this ancient mystery with us, be sure to like this video and subscribe for more deep dives into history's greatest secrets.